thoughts, cultivating self-empathy. So far, I've shared with you about how thoughts can prevent us from responding purposefully to challenges that we encounter, and introduced you to ways in which we can work with thoughts so that we can bring more clarity and optimism in our lives. One of the exercises I introduced to you was a mindfulness exercise, which is a way to let go of thoughts that are not useful to you. Another is an exercise in replacing these thoughts. Sometimes, rather than letting go or replacing them, being curious about these thoughts to find out why they even show up for you can help to reveal your needs during challenges. When you understand your deep-seated needs, this in turn can help you figure out how you can respond purposefully to challenges that show up. Let's explore together how we might do this. Now, this exploration starts by looking into one of the ants that we explored earlier, which is labeling. So, what are some labels you have about yourself? Some of us might have negative labels of ourselves like, I'm lazy, or I'm fat, as if these labels represent the whole of our being. Now, these labeling ants can help reveal some should or shouldn't thoughts that we might have for ourselves. For example, I'm lazy and I should work harder, or I'm fat and I shouldn't eat this ice cream. Now, ask yourself if you have other should or shouldn't thoughts and write them out. When you explore each of these thoughts, oftentimes you might find that these thoughts come from sources beyond yourself, like your parents, your teachers, your community, your religion, or media. So if you have a thought, I should get a better grade so I can go to medical school, this might come from your parent, or I shouldn't steal might come from your religion. Now, these should and shouldn't thoughts are essentially judgments that you have of yourself. They come from various different beliefs and norms that have been built up within you through your exposure to your influencers, your parents, your religion, or media. Now, these beliefs tell you what's good and what's bad, and create a lens through which you see the world, constantly judging your world, including yourself, to be good or bad. When you are not meeting a particular standard set by various influencers, you find yourself with a narrative of I should or I shouldn't. Now, should and shouldn't thoughts are a form of judgment towards yourself, and if you live believing in these thoughts as truths, without exploring where they come from, what your feelings are when you have them, and what your needs are behind these thoughts, you can end up living a life based on someone else's standards rather than living a life that truly expresses yourself. It's important to break down these judgments into feelings and needs so that you can first learn to self-empathize, which is to learn about your feelings and needs and figure out how you wish to be, what's important for you, so that when challenges hit, you can respond purposefully and pave a path that is authentic to you. So, how do we find out what's important to us through our self-judgments? When you find yourself saying, I should do this or I shouldn't be like this, rather than pushing it away, be curious about that thought. Ask yourself, how does it make me feel when I have this thought? And what really matters here? What need is not met that gives rise to these feelings? So, for example, I might have a self-judgment, I shouldn't get below 90% in my science test as I need to get into medical school. This might be a judgment that comes from my parents and myself. And then I ask myself, how do I feel? And I find myself getting anxious and stressed. Then I ask myself, what need is not met that gives rise to these feelings of discomfort? This might reveal that perhaps I have a need for excellence, but also trust from my parents and self-confidence. These, at the heart, are things that are important to me, and they can only be revealed when we become curious and peel the layers behind the self-judgment. Now, what's amazing about revealing the needs is that when we find out the need, there are many ways we can respond to fulfill these needs. So, in this example, getting above 90% is only one way to meet the needs. Other ways might include being honest to my parents to build trust with them. Or if you are skilled in violin, practicing violin for 1 hour each day to fulfill the need for excellence and to build self-confidence. So it opens up more pathways to respond purposefully to challenges when they show up. So a little more on needs. Behind every should or shouldn't thought, there are needs of why we want it. Whether it is I should be thinner or I should work harder, when we experience feelings of discomfort with these should and shouldn't thoughts, we know that some needs are not fulfilled within us. Needs are universal, so all humans share them and they are what matters most to us. If you're aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you might know that at the base of our needs are physiological needs like air, water, and food. Then comes safety needs, love and belonging like friendship, and esteem like respect and recognition. Now, different people have different needs that are more important at any one time, and by exploring them, we can ensure that our responses to challenges are purposeful to meet the needs. So, in an attempt to make what I shared a little clearer, I made a flowchart. So, first start by asking yourself, what label do you have of yourself? Or what should or shouldn't thought do you have of yourself? Then, for each thought, ask yourself, where does it come from? Because oftentimes these thoughts come from sources beyond yourself. Then ask yourself, is it true to you? You might find yourself going, no, in which case, this is a thought that you can let go. If you find yourself going, yes, or I don't know, then dig a little deeper and ask yourself, how does it make me feel when I have this thought? You might have feelings that don't feel good, that are unpleasant, or pleasant, that feel good, or that are neutral, not one way or another. When you find yourself having neutral feelings, then maybe this is a thought that you can let go because it's not that important. But when you find yourself having feelings that are unpleasant, then it's usually an indication that there is some truth to the judgment thought that you're having. If you can indicate more specifically what kind of feelings you're having, this can help open up pathways to indicating your need that's not met, because unpleasant feelings arise from a need that's not met. You can dig deeper within yourself by asking, what's the need that's not met and why is it important? To peel the layers and reveal what's really important for you. Now, I'm going to walk through this flowchart again using an example. So I asked myself first, what label do I have of myself? What should and shouldn't thoughts do I have of myself? Well, I'm fat and ugly and I should lose weight. Now, where does this judgment come from? Well, I guess in some ways it comes from media that portrays beauty to be a certain way. It comes from my mom that tells me that I shouldn't eat junk food, and my health checkup result that says that I'm slightly overweight. Now, is this judgment really true? Well, I guess I don't know. So, how does it make me feel when I have this thought? Well, it obviously doesn't make me feel pleasant. I also don't feel neutral. I rather feel quite unpleasant. So I guess there's some truth to this judgment. So I dig deeper and ask myself, what kind of unpleasant feelings do I have? Well, I guess I have some guilt for eating, and I feel disheartened and embarrassed that I don't look like the people on magazines the way beauty is portrayed. And so, what's the need that's not met that's giving rise to these unpleasant feelings? Well, I guess there is acceptance that's not met. I want acceptance from my mom. Um, I also don't have confidence in myself, and I guess a sense of beauty within myself. Now, I ask myself and dig deeper, why is this important? Well, at the heart of it, I guess I want all of these things so that I can belong and I can be worthy of love from my family, but also my friend group, and look as good as my friends. So belonging and friendship are really important to me. So in summary, certain ends like the labeling and shouldn't thoughts are judgments that we have of ourselves that we can explore with curiosity. From the exploration, we can further understand our feelings and the needs that we have and are not met and get to understand ourselves better, which is a process of empathizing with ourselves. By connecting to what really matters and what's important for us, we can now act and create changes based on what we wish to see and experience rather than based on other standards of shoulds and shouldn'ts. This is especially important in times of challenges when we get in a survival mode and we can react in ways that are easy and comfortable, which includes abiding by what others want of us, but are not necessarily useful or purposeful. By connecting to what's important, we have the opportunity to imagine multiple paths to fulfill what's important and help us respond from growth, purpose, and authenticity. So, for your practice this week, you will get a chance to explore your self judgment to reveal what's important for you that lies beneath them.